Hello, welcome to our weekly astrological transits. And we are getting ready to have our next planetary shift, as well as more planets starting to turn retrograde. So today, on the 1st of July, we have an interesting pattern. I think we talked about it before, the locomotive pattern, where we see planets, 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 and then an empty space that's like 120 degrees. So if we count it, we have signs again, not houses. So we have all of Libra, so it's 30, all of Scorpio, 60, all of Sag, 90, all of Capricorn, 120. So there's our 120, actually it's 123. um, and a little bit more because of where the moon is. So the moon is on the end of it right now, but Mars is close. So it's a little bit like of a wide um, locomotive pattern. So interesting thing about this. So if we look at the empty space and then you look to the find the first planet going counterclockwise from the empty space. So we have empty space, and then the first planet we hit, boop, is uh, uh, Pluto. So Pluto is the head of this. This is the head. This would be the locomotive part. So this is moving this way, and then everything else is wrapping around it. So this pattern in space that we have right now, and children that are being born right now, people that are being born with this pattern, have this Pluto in Aquarius leading. So just think about that a minute. Pluto in Aquarius, leading the train. So Pluto is depth, right? Pluto is death and transformation. Pluto is looking deeply and discovering and not allowing. I don't know. It's like transformation. It's like you can't hide. The light is too bright. It's that transition. And if it's an Aquarius, that's like that's that contrary fixed air. It's that view from above. It's that, you know, uh, it's for the good of all. I'm doing this for you. And this is powerful. Pluto's power. It's plutocracy. It's the top of the pyramid. It's this very interesting view. And this is what's leading this this whole pack of planets right now. We'll have some changes, but right now we have this, and we think about what our society and what our world is like, and how we're barreling through something. We're heading through a lot of lies. There's so many things that are being discovered and being exposed and being unveiled. You know, there's a lot of truths. There's warehouses of inventions that are, just mothballed because they're not able to make certain people money. But anyway, this is all beginning to change. So we can see this astrological pattern that is in all of this stuff that I'm just going to talk about for this week. But with that in mind, um, what we see here, the first thing my eye sees is and goes to is Venus getting ever closer to Uranus, and Uranus about to change signs. So this is going to, just boop, 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 and it goes over Uranus. And then this is so cool because hey, I'll just show you. This is just like, just watch. Okay. So here's Venus now. And Venus is Thursday, and then I might have to go hours on this, but say if I go the next day, yeah, I'm going to go to hours here because we can see Venus on Thursday. I have it in Thursday afternoon, but let's look at hours. Um, so 3:30 in the afternoon, at 3:33 in the afternoon. If we go 4:30, we see Venus is almost going to go over Uranus. This is just interesting. So what I want you to notice is it will go over Uranus and it will be still in Taurus, and then it will change. So watch the thing. Okay, so 5:30, this is on Thursday, 6:30, 7:30, 8:30, 9:30, 10:30. Getting closer, 11:30, 12:30, 1:30, 2:30. Well, like maybe it's the next morning. Here's 3:30 in the morning on the 4th. Okay, that's right. Here's 4th of July. Here it comes. Okay, so let's see, let's get a little closer. 8:30 in the morning on the 4th of July. And there it is. Okay, between 8:30 and 9:30. See, look right here, it's 29:51 and here's 29:52. So we're going to go 1 hour and it's already gone to 53. So less than an hour. It's probably around 9. I don't want to do the exact minute, but you can see it went right over and it's still in Taurus. So they're still conjunct. Venus is in her own sign. I think this is very I don't know, I think it's serendipitous. It's like it's in a nice place. It feels good. Venus is um things that you like, it's your love, it's your money. And then, looking also at market trends, this can be volatile, especially Uranus changing signs, very volatile. But Venus going with it, I think I don't know. I haven't studied totally a lot of financial astrology, but anything changing signs is volatile. But and Venus is always money in financial things. But I think it's kind of like I don't know how to say it. Um, eh, it's like somebody holding your hand going through a difficult event. It's like Venus there is just kind of like ushering in its own sign, Uranus. Okay, so there we go. And then boom, boom, there, right at around 11:30, it's there. Go back. Yeah. So 10:30, right around 11. What it jumped. Okay, anyway, there it is. So there, 000 on July 4th, 11:30, Venus has gone into the next sign. Okay, so it went past, and then a couple hours later, it changed signs. So and then Uranus is getting ever closer, and then that will be, go change not too many days later. But let's go back. I just wanted you to see that because that's kind of like a highlight of our week. Let's go back to today. Okay, so we can see this is coming up. This is one big thing coming up, and we have planets other than the sun, kind of like that, and then Mars, mostly at the beginning and ends of the signs. So we can see here, what are the other things I want to look at? We got this conjunction that we had last week with the sun and Jupiter, and it was with the new moon. Now it's getting a little wider. It's 6 degrees apart. They're separating. But what's interesting is we've got, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, kind of like 5 planets, and then the moon is always it's kind of hard to count it at the more the beginnings of signs. Um, so what will happen then is Saturn and Neptune will retrograde, and then they'll be back at the ends of the signs. They'll be back at the end of Pisces, and then Uranus will be at the beginning. So we still have this beginning and ending, beginning and ending. All right. So today, um, Moon finishes in Virgo, and then Moon changes over into Libra. So it's kind of like maybe ending a day or two of busy work, putting things in order, getting things cataloged, organized, um, attention paid to things, maybe working on your health or health issues, um, working on not so much like career, but more business, daily things, maybe dealing with small animals, health, daily habits, straightening out the daily habits, when the moon in Virgo. So now moving into the moon next couple and a half days, will be into more of a focus on the cardinal sign, Libra, relationships. So the moon will go there um, real quick and then start to make squares over to, okay, I'm looking right at it, to Jupiter with my mouse. So as moon, let me go in. I'm gonna make it. Hold on. Let's just go to the next day. So anyway, we see the moon over here, and then it's just, it's making squares over to Jupiter and the sun. So, we could be dealing with things you don't really want to deal with. maybe people pleasing, making other people happy, because we have that cardinal square right there, and then we have the opposition with the Aries over here with Neptune and Saturn. So could be a little bit of a difficult moon, coming into this. Or I'm trying to think what's the easiest way? It's like maybe thinking selfless service a little bit. Seeing the joy for others, knowing that 2.5 days will go quickly. If you had any kind of difficulty, but I mean, we have a T square here with the moon, and that's feelings, and this is others. So I don't know. You could be doing others, you could be overdoing for others, other people could be overdoing for you. It's hard to say, but we just have that cardinal mix, right? And then we have 5 planets involved. We've got moon, sun, um, Jupiter, Saturn, Neptune. So, there's a motley crew right there. Okay, so today and tomorrow, not a lot of aspects at the moment. Everything kind of is like building up for the big change that I showed you about. So tomorrow, moon, like I said, squaring, and then it's sextiling Mercury though. So moon gets a little help, from some communications here, but it could be dramatic, with the um that Leo 9 energy with, now that Mercury has moved into Leo, things could be voiced, opinions can be voiced. You may not be holding back your words, or you may over dramatize, with the moon here. It could add more drama to your visions, to your speech. You could be much more colorful in your approach with things. So for the whole time that we have that we have Mercury in Leo. Okay, those are the big things. And then we go Thursday, same moon, maybe just like opposing Chiron, which I don't even think I have in here right now. Nope. It's kind of a quiet day, so we're kind of building, and then we get to Friday. It's going to be a very noisy day. I mean, not only is it the 4th of July, and not only are there lots of warnings for biowarfare, terroristic drills and events and crazy crap like that. Um, I mean, it's just right for the pickings. This is just the time to double down on your meditations, on your, sending love to everything, everyone, trying to stay out of conflict. This whole change of everything begins with all of us, and war will go away when we can get rid of the war within ourselves. So making peace with things, like when we look at these aspects and not seeing them as bad or evil, but trying to find the good part within that. There's always the negative tendency with things. Um, but if we can focus more on, even like I was talking about the squares, squares and oppositions, it creates tension. But sometimes it's the tension that you need to get off your ass and get something done, or to, finally get something in order, or to finally see it, or to finally act on something, or whatever it is. Those are the things that cause the action. So to find the good in that. So this is a very interesting day. We have again Venus, just changed. We saw in the morning just changed. I mean, conjuncted Uranus, so they're fused together. So what does that mean? You know, um, I touched a little bit. I think financial stability, instability. I think the like maybe market changes. Um, right before, Venus, right before it's going into, it's going from its own sign into busy Gemini. So maybe there's a lot of, I don't know, I kind of feel like maybe there's a time here where there's some, we could change, I don't know, something in the monetary system, something with currency, something with value, maybe gold and silver, being like stable, could like go crazy, because we have that change right there. I'm just trying to think what astrologically those might represent. But it's going to be a very unstable day, no matter what. I think it's going to be a very unstable day. Um, what else was I going to say about that? So, Yeah, moon is now kind of an inconjunct. It's like not making the best conversations. It's gone into Scorpio, so it's very, it's the fall, position. It's the moon doesn't like that. Um, it's like under the microscope, but it's also investigatory. So things can be revealed. We could have moon, revealing things. And it's in a quincunx over to Saturn and Neptune. So underhanded shenanigans, things underneath the surface. Um, hard to say. I mean, you're just trying to mix the two types of things. On a personal level, you know, maybe getting to the bottom of something, maybe using that energy to, you know, it's water signs, so it's feeling and it's underneath, and then we still have, it's like right there when it's in conjunct exactly over to Saturn and Neptune. This is what in the morning here, right when Venus. So this is very intense, volatile time, but Moon kind of feeling investigating forever. It's intense. There's an intensity. Maybe it's bringing forth an intense vision. You're feeling something intensely. Aries bringing forth Neptune, the vision, Saturn structured, bringing forth an intense vision. And it could be difficult. Maybe, some kind of something is unearthed. All right, so we already talked about Venus changing sign. We have Moon also squaring here. It's squaring over to Pluto at the same time. So here, 11:30 in the morning. I think this is a very volatile time, Eastern time. Because we have the Moon making it's like the trigger aspect. It's making a square over to Pluto. It's in conjunct or that quincunx over to Saturn and Neptune. Um, also over to Venus. So it's like it's in the moon right here at this time is in a yod pattern, which is very powerful. We know that yods are powerful here because this is making a sextile Saturn and Neptune over with Venus as Venus moves on here. We'll go into this yod for this time here while the moon clicks in. How long do we have? Let's see. Do let's do an hour. Let's see how we do. Yeah, it's still there. An hour, another hour. See there, its moon is 5 degree or 4 degrees. So to in the afternoon, let's say I got it set for 3:33. Moon's still there. Moon, let's see, 5 degrees. It's kind of off of it now. It's kind of, I would say give it a little off of it. So late morning to early afternoon might be just an intense time. Late morning to like, yeah, mid-afternoon. Okay, so what else is going on here then? Oh, and then we could see Neptune stationing and it goes retrograde. So it's like very powerful. So maybe there's some kind of, a planet stationing is like still, it's very powerful. So Neptune, illusion. Maybe there's being an Aries, maybe there's an intense illusion. Maybe there's an intense um feeling. Maybe something comes through. Maybe there's like different kinds of things from the sky. I don't know, hard to say. Funny. Um, but yeah, Neptune, and it's stationary, so it's very powerful. And so is Uranus, I mean, it's like brought to change signs, so it's really powerful too. We've got these two planets really very, very, very powerful. And they're in an out of phase sextile. As soon as this changes signs, it will be, it's still close enough. But so we have that conversation. We have lots of conversations here. All right, on the fifth. Let's see, did I get everything else there? Yeah, then yeah, we talked about that moon, yeah, squaring. Yeah, the moon also here is squaring over to where is it? Squaring over to Mercury. We talked about that. So moon is, did I say that one? No, I did here. Moon squaring over to Mercury too. Hmm. And sextiling over to Mars. See, we got the, so that's kind of interesting. We got that in that feminine energy there with the masculine planet. Okay, so that's the 4th of July, and that's going to be it's another one of those intense days. Um, just kind of watch things, just kind of be on guard. That's what I say. Because when anything's just this volatile, this changing, it's just better to just be on guard. Just play it kind of low, kind of just maybe just keep your eyes open if you're out and about. I'm personally gonna stay home, but anyway, I like where I'm at. So going on into the 5th, mainly moon aspects. The moon squares Mercury during the day, then it'll sextile Mars, and then it'll trine over to the sun. So it's just kind of like a little wow, 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 squawking a little bit of energy, but it's kind of a lay low day. It's a kind of a recovery day, I think. And then coming into Sunday, um, Venus, where's my mark? Okay, Venus over here, 2 degrees now. We're going to be having that sextile over to Neptune. So this is very interesting. Saturn and making Saturn the day before, and then Neptune as Venus was going over there. And what else was I saying? Just about over to make a trine to Pluto. So look, we've got this configuration. So something is kind of like coming out of something very unique is distilling out of um, this morass of planetary changes right now. So Neptune would be in the middle kind of this pattern, Venus on one side, Neptune in the middle, and Pluto on the other. So this is intense. And again, I think, this just reminds me of like a real unstable financial market, but um, somehow for good, somehow maybe some things opening up, some different changes on the horizon for sure. And then coming into, see anything else on Sunday? Moon opposite, yeah, oh yeah, the moon will be, yeah, opposing. Oh, what am I just talking about? A couple other things. Is the moon comes through here as it's finishing up, um, it's going to, oppose the Venus Uranus group over here. You can see here it's opposing Uranus 3:33 in the afternoon. Uh, right there. So sudden again, moon could be triggered. This could be something kind of a volatile day here too. And then going to the next day, well, it would have been like a few hours later. It would go, as soon as it changes signs into Sagittarius, it will oppose Venus there. So we have the moon opposing Venus, and then the moon would also be sextiling, over to Pluto when it was in the early degrees here of the next sign, Sagittarius. So that's interesting. I think it's going to be a very interesting day. I think the 5th will kind of be low, but the 4th and the 6th, and then coming into next Monday, we've got Uranus changing signs. Right there, I've got it in the afternoon. It had just changed. So right there, Uranus, boop. Oh yeah, this is the third one, so now we have Neptune stationary, Saturn slowing down. Saturn will change on the 12th of July. We have the full moon on the 10th in Capricorn, the Capricorn full moon, and then Saturn will retrograde on May 12th. So they're pretty solid energies right now. Saturn is almost stationary. Neptune is just changing directions. Um, Uranus just changed signs. So this is powerful. We got some powerful stuff here. And what else? So yeah, Venus is now trining over to Pluto. Oh look, and this is like Pluto just changed degrees. Look, it just went back here. Let me go back like an hour. That was funny. Uh, oh come on. No, come on. There we go. Okay, so there's Venus. Look, Venus at 2 degrees 59, and then Pluto at 3 degrees. Look, and then we go. Did I want to do? Oh wait, go forward. So Pluto's going retrograde, so it's going to go back. And then see here we go. Venus is forward. So here we go at the 3 degrees. I mean, yeah, 3 degrees and 2 minutes. So we're like right 5:30 in the afternoon on Monday. And then Pluto, there we go, goes back and changes and goes 2 degrees. Okay, so I was like, what? There. So that's kind of a big deal. They're both like they're passing in passing degrees, from 2 to 3, um, which is kind of cool. What else is there? So we got that trine. And maybe just the moon energy. So this is kind of like culminating to these events, to these energies, and this is loud. Things are going to get loud now. Things, with Uranus here in Gemini. Wow, it's going to be like busting loose. So this can be kind of crazy energy. Just when it change. I can't wait to see what happens. Kind of how it affects things because this is big, when that planet changes, signs like that, especially Uranus to me, so for the next 7 years. Although we're going to have a little retrogrades, it's going to go retrograde back and Saturn and Neptune will go retrograde back into Pisces. Pluto still stays there. Pluto's is pretty much good there. It's made its last, we already went through the last Capricorn, so it's there in Aquarius. Um, yeah, so we're gonna get some. Let me just flip ahead real quick, like by months. Just look at something. I like to look ahead. All right, so here's August is next month, and just try to watch some of these planets here. So we have Saturn going retrograde. I mean, change signs already because it's faster, right? What else? October. We have this almost going there. We have here. Oh, and then Uranus goes retrograde. It changes signs, right? And then it goes retrograde. So it'll go back into Taurus. Let's go ahead a month. Look how far Jupiter is. Jupiter goes to 25 degrees Cancer, and I think it retros at that. So let's see. Yeah, it's like it goes. Yeah, I think that's the farthest it goes. So December, Jupiter goes retrograde, but it goes all the way. It's like almost all the way through that sign. Um, where else? We'll get here in time, but I just wanted to see. Okay, so Uranus is already back. Has been here back for the last couple of months. Let's go back again. Uranus. Yeah, it's almost there. So forward. Yeah, right. Like almost November, beginning of November. Let's go a couple weeks. It's easier there. All right, so things are like back almost. Look at in like by November, by Thanksgiving, we have Saturn and Neptune back into Pisces. We've got Uranus back into Taurus. um, Jupiter retrograde. So yeah, we're kind of like we're maybe backsliding a little bit or laying off. Maybe things get really intense and things back a little bit. But then as we go um, into December, see, we got now, let's see, how far retrograde does it go? Okay, now this is interesting. Everything's kind of glomming up back over here. Things are going to tighten up again. So we only have, we have Uranus and Jupiter over here on the other side of the chart, and then things kind of clamp down in the wintertime a little bit. Things get closer. Thank God that these aren't that close to this mess, but we could expect maybe some kind of a oh, I hate to say tempted lockdown or some kind of a scare or some kind of a panic or some kind of garbage like that, but things lumping together just kind of makes me jumpy on that. All right, so let's just see here what else we got. Coming into January, because we know we're going to get the things change. Here we already have Neptune moving. It's like February 6th, Neptune moves into Aries. And then we have, like, I think it's by the 20th. Yeah, let's go ahead. Yep. And then Saturn moves into Aries. They'll be in there for the next little while. They won't retrograde back. All the planets here in Pisces are going to come along into Aries, so this can be a very intense time as we're coming into, Aries season. Um, yeah, and look at still how close everything is. We're still changing, but all of this is going to get closer over here, and we're gonna come around having our bowl pattern again. Let's just do this as we come into next year, watching these patterns. And look how spread out again we get by May. We got this bowl again going, look at here. And then, yeah, it's because they're like just about opposite. And then as we go on, we can see these patterns repeating. There's our locomotive, move the sun, I mean the moon out of there. Let's go month. And we're back to, Now there's almost spread out. So anyway, it's very interesting to see these patterns and how the planets, as they go around, get closer together and farther apart and make these different patterns. So anyway, this is gonna be a good week, intense week, varied week, noisy week. So stay calm, stay safe, and see you all next time. Thank you for being here.